again, everyone, to this episode of Insights in AI and Data Science from the African Data Scientist podcast from Kotak, of course, hosted by Harcourt School of AI. My name is Steven, and I have here an amazing guest with us today, Rising Odegua, who, of course, is a data scientist and a researcher at Data Science Nigeria. And before we go on, we'll be talking about a lot of things. We'll be getting his insights in data science and AI and how we can learn from his genius mind, per se, we call them genius minds. He's published a lot of research work as well as working with Nigeria's largest AI non-profit AI community, and he's going to be sharing a lot of things about himself today. So I'm just going to be handing it over to him. So, Ryzen, welcome once again.
Yeah, thank you very much, Steven. So happy to be here. And,
awesome.
Thanks to everyone for tuning in and listening. Promise to be a good time.
Yeah, of course. So, Bryson, can you introduce yourself? Who you are, what your current role is, and what your responsibilities are, where you're currently at.
Okay. Basically, my name is Odegua. So, I'm a graduate of computer science from Abuzali University in Nigeria, and basically, I do data science and research at Data Science Nigeria, one of the largest non-for-profit organization in Nigeria, whose vision is to train AI talents and raise like a 1 million AI talents in the next 10 years. That's our major vision. And we also do some consulting and into data science space. So basically, my day-to-day jobs revolves around research, basically major research, cutting-edge tools, and the likes of it. So currently, we're working on the fintech space and brand sentiments for Nigeria brands. That's what we're working on. We're actively working on those products right now. And so most of the time, I also engage in data engineering, a little bit of data engineering, beside my personal stuff. So, but sometimes I also do some little bit of data engineering, actively do data science. My main job there at Data Science Nigeria is basically doing research. It has involves writing of papers, publishing papers, articles, and journals, and stuff like that. So that is what I basically do at Data Science Nigeria.
Oh, okay, that's awesome. What did you want to do when you went to the university, Ambrose Ali University, and did you get admitted into the university with the intention of studying data science, or what was your journey like from where you were to the university?
So I think I didn't go to the university to study computer science per se. So it was just like, I think, kind of like fate. I actually wanted to study electrical engineering, and I didn't get electrical engineering. So my school gave me computer science. So I was like, okay. And before then, I actually liked computers, but pre 2013, 12, those periods, computers was not something that was so popular among young people. We hardly have access to our own laptops and the rest. So basically, we do stuff on the phone, go to the cafe, and do other things. So before that time, I was actually interested in computer science, but I didn't really see myself studying it because I was still young and naive. I didn't really know what the future holds. But if you're someone that grew up in Africa, your parents always tell you things to study, go study engineering, study medicine, study law. So me going to study computer science was not really at top of my priority list and something like that. So I actually went for electrical engineering first, but along the line, I think as fate would have it, they gave me computer science. So I went with it, and actually that has been one of the best decisions I ever made, because even though most of my journey has actually been like self-improvement, self-learning, and things like that, my computer science, which I studied in school, has also given me the freedom and also like a base to build my career upon, because I have most of my theoretical knowledge from there, and basically I can self-improve myself without thinking about my course of study. Because maybe if I was studying electrical engineering or something different from computer science, I'll be trying to balance 2 feet together. So I'll be trying to maybe study for my exams, which is different and also like try to improve myself in computer science space. So me being in computer science has like so giving me that opportunity and that edge to move further with my career. And that's basically the way I started. So I didn't actually go to school to study it per se for the first time.
Yeah.
I entered there based on faith and chance, and it's actually been great so far. And I'm really happy that I actually entered into the computer science space in school. So that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I can testify a lot that it's been great so far because of
Yeah,
your tremendous background in computer science, grounding principles, which is quite
yeah,
amazing. All right, so well, generally, okay, I of course I believe that that's how your knowledge in computer science has been what has impacted what has impacted it so far. But was there a specific point where you actually decided that okay, while studying computer science, data science was like the best path to go for me, or you had other plans maybe in the
yeah,
computer science branch before you jumped
yeah.
right onto data science?
Yeah, so actually didn't start data science immediately. So
Okay.
we all know data science came into Nigeria fully, like it became popular around 2018. So
Yeah.
before then, I actually started out as a web developer and a web and mobile developer. So I did no, I actually started out as a mobile developer. I did Android, okay.
Mm.
So because I didn't really like web development per se as at then. So I decided to go for mobile first to start with. So I
Yeah.
learned Android development. I think that should be around 2015 going to 2016. That was when I started Android development. So I did a couple of courses, did a couple of apps and the rest. And later I started learning web development because I saw that most jobs, most
Yeah.
freelance opportunity and development in Nigeria. So I started learning web development and I wanted to learn PHP, but I wasn't coming from a Java background because I was doing mobile. I didn't really like PHP. So no offense, yeah, PHP is a great language,
Yeah.
but I didn't really like PHP. So I was looking for like the next generation language that I could learn. So then I saw Node. So Node was quite not too old at that time and not too popular, but I saw the tremendous impact that it's going to have. I saw the potential opportunity that many applications are going to be using Node, and Google was supporting Node back then. So I decided, and it was relatively new and good. So I decided to go for Node. So I learned Node, and from there, my web development career actually went off. So I was doing both web, a little bit of mobile, and the rest. So I think around 2018, yeah, 2018, when I went for my internship, my IT in Lagos, that was when I started saying this data science, AI, and I read about it. Said it was the sexiest job of the 21st century. This and this. I saw some cool things. Robotics, computer vision, and I was just reading about it, and I was like, "Wow, this is really good." And I'm somebody that likes this kind of fancy and high techy things. So I was like, I want to do this. I want to be able to do this. So I started out deep learning actually. I jumped straight from knowing nothing to going to do deep learning.
That's probably what we have in common. Yeah.
And I found out that I was doing deep learning. I was really cool stuff, but I didn't really understand how most of these things work
Yeah.
at the extreme bottom of it. So that was when I came in contact with a bootcamp qualification 2018. I was like, oh wow, we have an organization in Nigeria that's doing this kind of stuff. So I went to their website, I saw their courses. I think it was more machine learning. So I went back again. I left the deep learning. I went back again to start doing machine learning from scratch because I had to qualify for the bootcamp. So imagine me knowing a little bit of deep learning, but not knowing basic machine learning
Machine
stuff.
learning.
So
Yeah.
I had to go back again and started learning it and the rest. So then I think the bootcamp was actually one of the biggest game changer because it actually pushed me and I was like, wow, there are lots of possibilities of using AI and data science in Nigeria space. And now I have like minds, people doing it as well. I have an organization that is actually pushing it. So I was like, okay, I think I'm going to go into this full time. And
Yeah.
using my skills from mobile and web, apply it here as well. So that was when I like started. I think that was 2018. That was why I started out like, okay, I'm going into this full time, and so far it has been amazing. I mean, here we are. So that's it.
Yeah, so far so good. I mean, you've had a lot of community impact per se, and
Yeah.
yeah, surely, I think that's one of the highest point I think that sets you apart
Yes.
from every other practitioner or researcher out there. Your tremendous contributions to open source and so on. So,
Yeah.
by the way, viewers, Ryzen is actually the lead developer and founder of the open source library for data science, dataset. And you should
Wow.
check that
Thank you.
out. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it will be the link
Data
will be in the
sys.
data sys. So the link will be in the show notes for the viewers, listeners to get on. All right, so Horizon, there's this question we typically ask our guest speakers, hosts and sorry, our guest speakers, yes. So, and that's about the area behind having to break down the concept of data science for us. So, pretend I'm not a tech person or a data scientist. Now, can you explain data science or machine learning in simple terms and how they typically aid problem solving from your perspective?
Okay. So basically, data science. I think data science is everywhere. So and you can't actually escape it. You can't escape it. So AI, I might not be sure of AI because basically there are most things that you can do simply without using AI. But data science is everywhere because everything we do actually revolves around data. Okay. So if you're trying to build an application, for example, you're a web developer trying to build an application, you do some research, you get to gather some data about what you're trying to build. Who are people going to be using this particular application? What do they like? So, for example, if I want to build an application, I go out there and I get some basic information about my users.
Yeah.
Okay, I try to understand my users. So, for example, people using for example, if I want to build an app like say Facebook, for example,
Yeah.
I look at I get data from people using Facebook. So what is the demographic like? What age group are active users of Facebook? Okay, when do people normally post on Facebook? What kind
Yeah.
of content do they post on Facebook? So these are all data. So getting this data will help me build my product. So you see, so that's web development, for example. I can look at the trends of patterns in fashions. Where am I staying? Maybe I'm staying in Nigeria. I'm a fashion designer. I can look at past trend and like, okay, people in so place kind of style. Maybe we
Yeah.
can improve it by doing something. So you can see that every job, every business, everything we do revolves around data. So the idea behind data science is to be able to manipulate it, be able to work on it, and be able to extract useful information from it that can give us money. That is it.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
yeah, so thing is that how can I take it? How can I extract the information from it and use it to better my products, better my life, improve things around me? You can use for this analysis, extraction. But the basic idea behind it is to get insights, get knowledge that are resident in data, and data can come from anywhere around you.
All right.
So that is just basically data science for you.
All right. Perfect. And of course, you've
Machine learning
already
is
talked
simply,
about. Okay.
oh, right. So should I go on?
Yes. Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay, just like so, machine learning is basically taking this data that we've gotten through data science and the rest, taking this data and using passing them through some algorithms that we have in order to so this result can be that I want to predict the future from the past data. So I take the data and I pass it through an algorithm. So the algorithm learns from the data and maybe understand the past better and stuff like that. So that's basically machine learning. So machine learning is taking the data, applying some algorithms to it, and let the algorithm learn from the data.
Mm.
So a concrete example would just be, let me say, predicting stock prices. Okay, so I can get data which is past stock prices, past stock price data to predict future price. So that process is the machine learning. The algorithm is learning from the data. That is basically what machine learning is all about in simple terms. Okay, so that's it.
Oh, okay. Awesome. I mean, the whole idea is just to make sure that the systems are able to make proper decisions from based on what I'm talking
Yes.
from your insights, which is quite good. And of course, having to solve a lot of problems as well. Like you said, data science is everywhere. If there's a problem there, there's most likely data science, machine learning, or AI can come into play. Awesome,
Yes.
awesome. So, but I think you've gone to as far from my knowledge, you've attended a lot of hackathons. You've worked with a couple of maybe freelance companies and so on. So, what is one thing about data science and machine learning that is clear to you, but it's not really clear to other people, maybe engineers or non-engineers alike, or researchers, or
So one thing I'll mention, and I don't quite know if everyone will agree with me, but the one thing I'll mention is that software engineering has a big role to play in data science. Of how software works has a very, very good and important role in data science as a whole. Okay, because most people, uh, data science as a field has evolved really high. So actually, statisticians and the rest. So, but the field has evolved so much that we now have a need for strong and good software engineers coming into the field. That means that we can put out our solution in production with little or no changes. Because if you as data scientists don't have this solid foundation of software engineering, you're going to create something, people have to rework again to put into production, and that will be more expensive, time consuming, and rest. So I feel software engineering has a huge and big part in data science, and I will argue that every data scientist should know at least a little bit about software engineering best practices, version control, writing good codes, documentation, and things like that. I think that's something that's obvious to me, but I would like to point out in the field. So that's it.
oh, okay, awesome, awesome. Have solid software engineering background. It's very, very crucial for building workable machine learning models, and those ones that'll be robust enough for production users. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So have of course, I think you said data science Nigeria is a consultancy as well, and you
Yes.
most likely must have worked with companies, maybe small, large, and so on, based on the consultancy department. So how would you
Yeah.
advise a small company to adopt an AI strategy? What do you
Okay.
think they would need to be successful at AI and data science?
Okay. So basically, there are many rules of thumbs that you follow for you to be able to, for a company to be able to adopt an AI strategy. Okay. But the first and the most important rule is data, getting data, because the thing is that AI works, data science works, but it only works when there is data. It is not magic. Okay, so if as a small company you want to adopt an AI strategy, the first thing is to look at what problem do I want to solve. Okay, so if for example I have a particular problem that my company wants to solve, or a particular area a company wants to improve, and I can look at, okay, do I have, can I use traditional methods to solve this problem? So for example, if I write a piece of software, a piece of code, can I solve this problem without using any idea of data, of AI, and any fancy tool and the rest? So if the answer is no, then you can look at, okay, do I have the data behind to solve this particular problem? So have I collected the data? So you can look at, for example, if for example you maintain a database or something, you can look at the database and say, okay, so for me to solve this particular problem, I already have been keeping this particular data, so I can actually leverage that data to solve this particular problem. Okay, so that's one area. Now you have data. Okay, so if you have data, this is not the time for you to get data engineers, data scientists, and so that you can actually retrieve, because most traditional business or most small business keep data maybe in SQL tables and yes. So you cannot, okay, how do we bring this data out in the right format and start analyzing it and the rest? So you cannot engage data scientists, data engineers, and define your problem to them, and they cannot create this pipeline of moving your data, analyzing it, and bringing out your products. Then the other aspect is if the data is not available. Okay, so if the data is not available, you have to now start getting, because there are some bodies that, for example, if you are working, if you are a logistic company, you can leverage Google Map data, Uber our data, traffic flow, and the rest. So if data is available out there, it's better to just plug and play, plug, retrieve, and use it to solve your problem. But if data is not available out there, you have to get the data by yourself. So you have to look for good uh, miners and people so that they can actually get this data for you and store it in the right format. So basically, I would say that for you to adopt AI strategy or data science strategy in an organization, data has to be a crucial part. You have to get the data. So the data can either be there already, so you have to just mine and put it in the right format, or you don't have it, you have to retrieve from a third party, or you have to record that data by yourself. So once you get the data, the rest is not so difficult because you can get good data scientists, good data engineers that can take this data and use it to answer the questions that you have in mind. So that's just my advice for small business to get started with AI, data science. Data is key. Data is key.
Yeah, I mean, data is like the fuel for any successful at least data science product, not just in quantity, but I think also in quality, because a lot of things surrounding using data, appropriate data, and representative data, and all of that. Thank you so much for that insight. So, but back to you now. While starting out in the field, because I know beginners would love to know, what were the challenges? What were the kinds of challenges you faced? Because I know every practitioner, especially in a developing country like ours here in Nigeria, you must have, of course, faced challenges. So, while starting out in the field, what challenges did you face, and how did you overcome them?
So the major challenge for me when I was starting out was not knowing what to start learning with. Okay, so like I said earlier, I jumped from not knowing anything about AI or data science to going to deep learning.
Deep learning.
Okay, yeah. So I think what I would advise most beginners is to get maybe someone that has been doing this for a while, and not just someone that's just posing as doing it, someone that actually has done it, and you've seen results, you've seen products, and works in a good place, and like tell them to like recommend maybe a starting course for you to take, because and I think most of them will recommend starting with data science from scratch, then machine learning, then before going to deep learning. But I believe they should recommend like a good course that covers end to end from the beginning. So that, and the thing is that what our advice is that the person or you, the beginner, sticks to that course and make sure you complete it. Because what most people fail to do is they start a course and maybe like halfway to it, they jump to another one. From there, they go to another one, they go to blog articles, they go for this. So like they're just all over the place. So that would not help to track your progress. So the major thing to do is to get a course, a beginner-friendly course that starts from the basics and that builds upwards. I think there are lots of courses like that online. There are lots of it on Udemy, there's on Coursera and the rest. So make sure you finish it and do a particular project on it. Okay. Then from there, you can now start getting books. Books are really great source of learning. There are lots of beginner-friendly books that you can get. Get books, read along the way. Then after you've gotten some basic knowledge, enter for Cargo and Zindi competitions and start small. There are lots of data sets on those platforms. There are lots of people who have attempted them. There are notebooks there that you can actually follow. So go to these platforms, enter for the competition. You're not going there to play to win. Just go there to learn. There are lots of people who have shared their experience in the past, so you can go there, learn from there, do a couple of projects, and make sure you are sharing these projects in your portfolio. Okay, so then from there you can move on to taking more advanced courses. Maybe going to deep learning, they're going to the fancy AI talk, CNN, natural language processing, and the rest. But what I would say is that start small, start from the basics. Make sure you learn Python very well. Number one, if you're going to be using Python, which I would advise you use, make sure you learn Python very well. Then go to machine learning to learn statistics, a little bit of statistics, linear algebra, and stuff like that. But the most important thing is that please take a good course, a good beginner-friendly course, finish it, move on, go to school and do some competitions. Doing competitions will help you learn. Then from there, you move on to more advanced. Although I moved from knowing nothing to deep learning. I had to backtrack. I had to go back and start again from the beginning, from scratch. So I wouldn't want anybody to make that same mistake, which most of us did back then. So this is just my little advice for you, for beginners.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I can really testify to the problem of starting out with deep learning.
Yeah.
Personally, while I started out, I was, I think, over 2 years, around 2018 as well. It was through Google Crash Course, I think, Crash Course in Machine Learning, and that was straight up talking about neural networks and deep learning
Okay.
and everything. So it took us a pain having to come back again just to make sure we can
Yeah.
compete at the boot camp, the machine learning boot camp, which is
Yeah.
quite astounding. But looking back, like Ryzen said, it's all about having that foundation. The principles are, I think, are unparalleled, and just to support
Yeah.
Ryzen's. For you, what qualities do you think are the most important for somebody to be a very good data scientist or machine learning engineer? What are the qualities that you think the person should and must possess?
Okay. So for data science, you should. What I would say, some of the qualities is that you should be inquisitive. Okay, you should be somebody that likes to ask
Yeah,
questions
yeah,
and somebody
yeah.
that likes to answer questions. Okay,
Yeah.
because the thing is that there are lots of questions and lots of insight that you can get from data.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you are somebody that can look at a particular product or look at a business
Yeah.
and be able to like say, okay, I think we need to do this, or I think we need to go in this direction, or I think we need to build this kind of product. If you're somebody that likes to ask those kind of questions, then you can take these questions and use the data to find out the answer. So you should be somebody that's inquisitive to data science. Okay, and also you should be somebody that have patience as well, because most of the time data, as you will, especially during the aspect of cleaning the data and stuff like that, actually takes time, it can get frustrating and rest. So you should also do it with patience and rest. And why this is not mostly, how will I put it, important, but it's a little bit important. You should have basic uh, statistics skills, at least to get started. Statistics is very important in data science. So you should have basic statistics skills. There are lots of books and tutorials that you can use to get those skills, even if you're not a statistician from the start. So statistics, a little bit of mathematics is okay. You don't have to be a math guru. Just a little bit of mathematics is okay. Then learn a program language. So many people advise Python because it's the most popular. It's also R. Okay. But if you're somebody that doesn't want to program, you can actually stay. There are lots of tools that you can use out there that you don't have to write a single line of code. Okay. So you can do that. But I would still advise you to learn a little bit of programming because there are some things you want to do that you don't have an option. You just have to write some code. Okay. Then for machine learning, you should basically have said before, please learn software engineering because machine learning engineer is very, very close to software engineer. It's very close. There's just a little bit of difference between them. So for machine learning, you should be able to write good software, know version control, know how to collaborate with people, know how to write good quality code, know how to write tests, um, also know how to write good documentation. And you also learn how to scale your products because trust me, most of the products you'll be building are not going to be sitting in your laptop, are not going to be serving 10 people. Most data science products in production are serving hundreds of people, thousands of people. So you should also know how to scale your products. So maybe you learn things like GCP, cloud. Cloud is, in fact, I was supposed to mention this at first. You have to know cloud. You have to know how to use cloud. For example, Google Cloud, AWS, because most of your products should be running on the cloud. So as a machine learning engineer, you should know how to work with cloud, basic software engineering skills, and you're good to go. There are many other things, but I think these are some of just the highlights and the important ones that comes to mind.
Yeah, I think any other, maybe if you have specific resources, we can link them in the show notes so that
Okay.
people can access them later. Thank you so much for that. So like you said, I mean, software engineering, even the core, just if you want to build, I would always tell our students that they practical machine learning because sometimes when I instruct, But if you really want to build workable machine learning at all, workable machine learning requires software engineering, regardless
Yeah.
of the discrepancies that are between
Yes.
them, which makes a lot of sense. So, but yes, you work, of course, having said this for like the 10th time and the nth time.
Yeah.
Sorry, you work at data science Nigeria, and of course you
Okay.
yeah, from there you can see a lot of data science is just on this very very high hill of
Okay.
and helping Nigeria navigate the whole space of data science and AI. So you must have seen a lot of things that data science can best solve in our current in the various sectors in Nigeria. Vary from the economic to the socio-political to the agricultural or anything. So, but how do you think, in your opinion, how do you think machine learning AI can best help Nigeria improve in these various sectors, and how can our country or any developing country at all, not just Nigeria, but African, any developing country at all, leverage this technology to improve in various sectors?
Okay. So basically, what I would say is that for an effective economy, for an effective system in a country, in any country, data plays a crucial and a big role. Even before the popularity of data science and the rest, it's actually people have actually been using data to make key district decisions in key policies
Yeah,
and the rest in many countries around the world. So that's why you have the traditional statisticians, the traditional analysts doing
yeah,
most of this work. So with the advent and the coming in of big data, that's when we now have more defined data science jobs where people are now leveraging big data tools and the rest, combining software skills, machine learning skills, and the rest to be able to better understand this data. So for any developing countries, there are many ways you can actually use data from agriculture to government to transportation to housing and the rest. Okay, so if I give an instance for agriculture, lots of farming these days have moved from mechanical farming
yeah.
to more of like automated farming.
Automated farming, yes.
Okay, so you see these developed countries using tools that can self plant, self harvest, self monitor, and many things like that. So you can see just a single farmer running a very large farm. Why? From where?
Yeah.
From a software, from a piece of software. Okay, and this thing uses data because it understands the weather, it understands when to plant. Why? From past data, to understand it
Mm-hmm.
can predict yield, it can predict how much the thing the
Mm-hmm.
farm is going to produce in a particular time. So using this, these are all data science. So because using this, you can actually get a better understanding of agriculture space.
Yeah.
That's just for agriculture. For the area of transportation and the rest, you can use data to effectively optimize how transport works. Where should this next road be sited? Okay, so if I look at this particular place, what is the most optimal route that this road, for example, the government wants to build a road, what's the most optimal route that we should site this particular road? Where should it pass through? You
Yeah.
can use data science. You can look at the history of how people navigate these places, transport data, traffic data. So you can leverage this data and kind of say, okay, if we put this particular route here, it will be more effective because so and so number of people will actually use it. This part of the road will be less congested. So things like this. So you can see data answers most of these questions. So the thing is that data, you can use data everywhere in the economy, everywhere, because if you keep data for a particular page, you can use it to optimize the way things are done before. Okay, so for example, there's a work that Wale and somebody else did of trying of converting Nigeria bills, past bills, translating it into Yoruba language. So this is that's NLP in action. So you can see you can automate translation of documents from English into more languages that people can resonate with in the country. Okay, so you can see that almost everywhere in the economy, in policy making, in there was a job we did earlier for the World Bank using geospatial data to try to predict flooding in Ibadan. So you can see we leverage data, machine learning to try to like predict where will the next flood be in Ibadan. So you can see everywhere around the economy can actually use data science and AI to actually improve. So what I would say is that for developing countries like our country, we should actually try to get more data scientists, more data engineers into the space. And importantly, we should start keeping data. Yeah, we should start keeping data. Very, very important. So that's just what I would like to say for
Awesome.
developing countries to use data science.
Absolutely. I mean, that's that. It will be very, very, very useful enough if we can not just keep data, but we've all been mentioning, is keeping the quality data, because there are lots of data is in lots of formats, and most of them are kind of very traditional and archaic. And if we can really, if you really want to leverage them, like you rightfully mentioned, it's about making sure that they are in the right format, and they are in a format that can be leveraged by these technologies, which makes sense. So yeah, back to you once again. For I think you I think you also do a lot of course, you're a researcher, so you know a lot of advancements going on in the space and try to keep up. What are you excited about in the future of machine learning and AI? Is there any specific technology that is captivating you, that you think that it's really going to be a game changer? What are you excited about?
Okay, so if you're in the AI space, I think what most people look forward to, although not everybody, but some people try to like define the prime movement of artificial intelligence advancements. That's the generation of AGI, artificial general intelligence. Okay, so but I'm not really looking forward to that per se. So it's nice, it's great, it's going to be good, it's going to be a game changer, but in the foreseeable future, I think what I think I'm looking forward to is actually the improvement of natural language processing with humans, computers with humans. Okay, and I think this is a path where we can actually achieve in the nearest future. Okay, where we can build machines that can interact with people on a more human level. So when I mean more human level, I'm not talking about just using English. I'm talking about somebody in the village that knows maybe just Yoruba language can actually communicate with a machine, a phone, or a computer in their own dialects, and the computer can be able to interact with them very well, carry out their wishes or their commands, so I feel if we can actually improve on NLP area in terms of human interaction, it's going to be a practical big game changer for the AI field. Okay, so it's not just going to affect developed countries; it's going to affect everywhere, both developed and developing countries. So that is just my own practical game changer that I see in the nearest future, and I know it will soon get there very soon.
All right. So I would love to ask you, because I perhaps you've probably been in a position whereby you either got interviewed, or you probably have to interview a data scientist looking for a job. How would you advise a data scientist looking for a job in Nigeria to prepare for an interview?
Okay, so for you to prepare for an interview, just have projects that you've built from scratch, from end to end. So, for example, if you're applying for a job at the financial institution as a data scientist or data analyst, you should have done particular projects on, say, predicting loan credit default, for example, predicting sales, for example. So you should have a project that you've done from end to end, because most of these recruiters and interviewers in data science space, data science is not like software engineering, where they start asking you about data structures, can you create a balance tree, those kind of things. So in data science, what most companies do that I've seen is they give you projects to work on. So they can give you data, for example, and they say, this is what are the questions we want you to answer, want you to draw insight from this, want you to be the model to solve this. I think for like 3-4 interviews that I've seen in Nigeria, these are the kind of questions they ask. They give you a document, they give you a data, and they'll be like, okay, using this data, answer these questions. So if you have someone that have done these projects before, maybe on Cargo, on Zindi, and the rest, you can easily pass most of these interviews. Okay, so you just have to but the important skill I would advise that you learn for going for these interviews, how to present your findings, how to present your results, because doing data science, using fancy algorithms, using neural networks is cool, it's important. But how do you put out these findings to non-technical people? Okay, because at the end of the day, it's the non-technical guys, the C-level executives, these are the people that will make the decisions. So they want to see a report that speaks to them directly. Okay, so you should learn how to craft a good report, and then also learn how to work on projects end to end, from getting the data, analyzing it, to running machine learning models on it, and using it to answer questions. So for Nigeria, just like the rest of the world, the most interviews are centered around working on a particular project. So if, for example, you're applying, if the company and the project is actually going to be in line with what the company does. Okay, so if the company is a financial company, they are most likely going to give you a financial data set to work with and to answer questions. If it is a news company, for example, they might decide to do NLP, natural language processing. So the type of company will determine what type of projects you work on. But all in all, most of the projects are going to be hands-on projects. Okay, so that's basically what it's about.
Oh, all right. Thank you so much for that insight. Well, on a personal level, how do you manage to keep track of latest advancements in the space? Do you have a site you go to, or most people say it's Twitter, but what's your opinion? How do you keep track of?
Definitely Twitter.
Oh, okay.
So the thing is that I follow most of these guys that do this stuff.
Yeah.
So that's the beautiful thing about Twitter, is that you can get to see, interact with the people actually doing the work.
Yeah.
Okay. And you can interact with them on a personal level, not on a formal.
Yeah.
Maybe you are sending emails and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the funny thing is that they actually want to actually engage with you. Okay. So for me, it is Twitter. I get most of the updates. For example, a new paper comes out, the author tweets about it, I look at it, I go to the site, maybe I go to archive, somebody writes a blog post concerning a particular new idea, we put it on Twitter, from there we go. Yes. So Twitter has been like the number one source for me getting information. Then Medium helps me a lot also. Okay, because now they recommend articles for me to read based on my history, data science at work. So I maybe sometimes during the day, I just early in the morning, once I wake up, I just go to Medium and look at recommended articles. And there I can get to see good things and rest. That is the second one. There another one is me actually searching them out. Okay, so I go to Google and there are lots of sites that keep tracks of the papers. There's this paper with code sites so once a new paper comes out, a good paper, we actually try to re-implement it to make it work. Okay, so that's also a good site. And I think there's also another one called I think 2 minutes paper, something like that on YouTube. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yeah, 2 minutes. Yeah, this guy, what a time to be alive.
Yeah, so they actually review papers in like 2-3 minutes. That's also another one. But for me, the most important source is actually Twitter. So, but you should actually follow the right feed. That's where you can get this information from.
Yeah, following the right feed is actually very important. And of course, we'll leave the link to Rise's handle on Twitter. So once you follow him, I believe the Twitter algorithm should be able to recommend you to.
Or you can check, or you can go to my following list.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. So you can go through Rise's following list and get persons to follow from there. And yes, absolutely. And 2 minutes paper on YouTube is also where I get to keep track of that. So of course, what he does as well is just summarize the paper. Then I feel if it's interesting enough, then dive deeper. Follow the link and everything, which is another amazing platform as well. We'll just leave the links to everything in the show notes. So people can
okay.
So Ryzen, a very, very last question. If there is one golden advice, whether it's in one sentence or one word that you would love to give to beginners, looking to become world-class machine learning engineers, data scientists, or problem solvers in this space, what would be that advice? Just one golden advice.
Okay, so the one golden advice is to anything you're going to be learn it very well. So, and also be focused. Pick a focus. Don't be like many of us who started out jumping from one bit to
So
another,
true.
particular focus area to
Yeah.
another. So they focus. So I think what's the advice I normally I got someone, and I also read somewhere, is to explore wide. So you go wide, explore each area you need to. For example, you can do something on NLP, do it to something on CNN, on something on machine learning. Just explore wide, explore different, because the field is wide, very wide. So just explore different options wide. Okay, don't go too deep yet. Just explore them and see what it feels like. Then look for a particular area that you like. Okay, so if you, for example, after exploring wide for a couple of months, and you see that
Yeah.
okay, I like NLP, then now it's not time to go deep. So you now go deep into NLP and be very good at it. Okay, so why I say you should start wide and not start deep is that if you start wide, you have ideas from these different areas, so that even if you are doing NLP, if a project comes up that requires a little bit of a particular field, you can
Yeah.
just easily quickly learn it and
True.
add it to what you currently do. So my advice is just go wide, explore the possible options you have, okay, then go deep, pick a
Yeah.
particular area, focus on it. And
Yeah.
while doing that, remember, I'm always an advocate for software engineering.
Yeah.
Learn a little bit of software
Okay.
engineering, please, so you can write good codes that are scalable, learn how to write documentation,
Yeah.
then learn how to learn how to write reports, how to present your findings to people, non-technical
Yeah.
people. So
All
that is
right.
just my top level advice.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. It reminds me of the wide and deep model. So
Yeah,
yeah, the wide and deep model in machine learning, which is what Ryzen is trying to talk about. Explore different areas, but then have a very specialized area you
focus.
no sense of. All right, thank you so much, Ryzen, for your time today. We really
Yeah,
appreciate you sharing your amazing insights and knowledge, experiences with the listeners today. I personally learned a lot, and every link to
thank
the
you.
lesson, the show notes. And if you're watching, if you're listening to this, you can always visit our YouTube channel. And Ryzen will surely have a particular presentation there, so you can easily watch his presentation and learn from his skills on daily data processing or any other skills at all you want to learn in our YouTube channel. And of course, you can visit datasciencenigeria.org to learn what they do there and how you can get in touch with them. All links will be in the show notes. So thank you so much, listeners, for being here today. Once again, thank you so much to our guest, Ryzen, for showing up and helping support the community again.
Thank you
Ryzen,
very
thank
much for
you.
having me.
Yeah, so
Thank you very
everyone
much for
stay
having me.
okay, bye guys, and please stay safe. Our world is very chaotic these days, so please stay safe, everybody, and goodbye and enjoy your day. Yeah.